Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has spent much of his career pushing false information that questions the safety and efficacy of vaccines. With Kennedy nominated to the top health job in the Trump administration, we wanted to take a look on how this activism has influenced how people perceive vaccines. CNN's Harry Enton has crunched the numbers for us and seen what has changed over the years. Harry, show us what you're finding. It feels like it could be somewhat disturbing.
I think it's extremely disturbing, especially as the son of a pediatrician. So let's look here. Government should require childhood vaccines against contagious diseases such as measles. You go back to 1991, look at this, it was 81%. By 2019, it was 62%. Look at where we are today in 2024, just 51%. That is a 30-point drop over the last 33 years. My goodness gracious, not good if you're a big believer in public health. What is one of the big reasons why we have seen this decline in folks who believe that, in fact, the government should require childhood vaccines? Well, child vaccinations are extremely important. I want you to look at this. This is broken down by Republicans. You go back to 2001, there really wasn't much of a party gap, right? It was 66% for Democrats, 62% for Republicans. You jump up to 2019, you're starting to see a party identification gap develop. Look here, Democrats 67%, Republicans 52%. Look at where we are now in 2024. Look at this chasm. Democrats believing that childhood vaccinations are extremely important, 63%. Very similar to where we were at the beginning of the century. Republicans, on the other hand, look at this drop from 62% down to just 26%, less than half the level than what we saw at the beginning of this century, Dana.
Do we have any idea why Republicans changed so much? I mean, if you think about those dates, particularly right before 2024, when people thought vaccine, they thought COVID.
Yeah. You know, part of this is all the myths that folks like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have been putting forth, right? All right, this is among Republicans. Some vaccines cause autism in children. My note here is, of course, they do not. But this is about sowing doubt. This is about sowing doubt among Republicans. So you look in 2019, it was 10%. Look at that jump now, up to 20%, doubling. But it's not just the yes category. It's the uncertain category, the unsure. 53% in 2019 to 60% now. So this combined, look at this. This is a huge, huge number. And what we're really talking about in this situation here is that even though the no is very low, and the yes, and it's really the uncertain, it's really that uncertain category here, that 60%. It's about sowing doubt, Dana. That's what it really is. It's not necessarily yes, it's I'm not quite sure, and therefore maybe I don't want my child to get a vaccination.
Yeah, I mean, when you put those numbers on the screen, it scares me a little bit if somebody's just tuning in and they see that. Please look at the bottom of your screen. False claim. There is no evidence. No evidence that
nothing.
These childhood vaccines, which prevent measles, mumps, polio, it goes on and on. No evidence over decades and decades.
Correct.
That it is a cause for autism. Okay, so another question is, how do Americans see RFK Jr. outside of activism against vaccines, and is that even a possibility?
Yeah, look, here's the deal. I think part of the reason why he is a pretty good vessel for these messages, these false messages, is I want you to take a look at the net favorability rating. This is the trend over the last year. You know, if you go back to late 2023, it was +2, right? That's not half bad given how unpopular politicians are in this country. You look at mid-2024, it was -11 points. Once RFK dropped out of the presidential race, he's back at net even. He's back at net even, and that is so important because, again, politicians are so unpopular. He's one of the most popular politicians out there right now by breaking even, and the reason why he's one of the most popular politicians is because if you take a look, he does very well with Republicans, right? His net favorability is +46. He doesn't actually do half bad in the middle at +8. Among Democrats, he's way underwater at -59. But the bottom line is among Republicans, who of course would be so important to his nomination to getting to be the HHS secretary, and among independents, he's actually not doing half bad. So honestly, this entire segment, you know, I like to come on here, have some fun. A lot of this is just, frankly, very disturbing to me.
Harry Enton, but important. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.